You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is March the 12th, 2018. With you today is myself, Carl, and the always wonderful Joel. Did you survive the time change, Joel?
Yeah. I don't have a big deal with the time change.
Everyone's been complaining. I enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that we still have like 2 hours of sunlight to go today.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I'm also okay with that. I also have children and don't complain about it, because that's usually who complains about it most, right?
Yeah, parents hate it.
But I don't have a problem with it.
That's good. Yeah, well, we've got a lot to talk about on the show today. Anywhere particular you would like to start?
Not really. I don't know. Where do you want to go? Like I have a beef with the website. Just dropped like a 3-part series about like who's gonna win the Hart Trophy.
And you've got issues.
Yeah, because you guys didn't pick like the clear front runner for the Hart Trophy. like it wasn't like oh I have one of those 3 as my selection, and whoever wrote it like didn't like inspire me. Like, you guys didn't inspire me to change my position, and you guys totally missed the guy that should win it. So, like...
Well, okay, so for those who have not read it yet, we did release on the website 3 favorites. We each made our case, me, Joe, and Chase, for, in no particular order, Taylor Hall, Nikita Kucherov, and Nathan MacKinnon. For Hart Trophy, a.k.a. League MVP, who do you think is missing?
Well, first of all, that felt like that wasn't a particular order of worst to best. Because
it was a particular order. It was in alphabetical order of last names.
Okay, well, Hall clearly is not going to win. Kucherov, like, whatever. MacKinnon if the Avs make the playoffs. But the guy that needs to win it is Malkin. The guy's playing ridiculous this year.
Okay, I will disagree with Malkin for the exact same reason that I will disagree with Kucherov. And I didn't go into this in my part of the article because I was like, I'm here to make my case for MacKinnon. I'm not here to bash everyone else. But now I can. So Kucherov is, and I think I've said this on the show before, the fact that he is on a team that might have a Vezina winner, has a guy in arguably a finalist for the Norris, has Steven Stamkos as well. There's no way that he is the most valuable player to that team. I think the same stands with Malkin. Phil Kessel has had a phenomenal. He's hit 50 assists last night, Joel. Phil Kessel has.
Yeah, well, and the Penguins currently have 3 within the top 10 of points.
Right.
And to make the case against Taylor Hall, he is not included in the top 10 in points.
Right. So there's that as well. Just because you go on a crazy streak doesn't mean that you've been good the rest of the season. So
I'm fine with that. I am with you. If I had to choose between the 3 that were written about, I would go MacKinnon, unless the Avs don't make the playoffs.
Do you think the MVP's got to make the playoffs? That's like a hard and fast rule.
What's the point of being really, really good if you don't make the playoffs? Like, sorry, Connor McDavid. Till you bring that team into the playoffs, you're terrible.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but yeah, I'm of the mind that I'm okay if you have an otherworldly season, like if Connor McDavid somehow put up 150 points, and what is happening in your house?
I don't know. You can hear that, eh?
Yeah, we most certainly can hear that.
I am like looking around. I don't know what's happening.
Well, that's impressive.
It's a little terrifying. You continue this. I'm going to text my wife while you're finishing your thought.
Okay. I think if somehow Connor McDavid put up 150 points this season and the Oilers still managed to miss the playoffs, I would be of the opinion that he should win MVP. But you have to be like clear and away front runner, best player in the league to win MVP and have your team miss the playoffs. As the way this season is unfolding right now, no one is definitively the best player that I'd be okay with that. So yeah, if the Avs don't make the playoffs, which I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but if they don't make the playoffs, McKinnon shouldn't win MVP. That's as simple as it goes.
So yeah, I would go Malkin. I would also like the other guy that I think may sneak into the conversation, again, only if they make the playoffs, is Mr. Johnny Hockey. Like, I think he's running in the same sphere as McKinnon. Like, best player on a fringe team. Points-wise, really not much different than McKinnon. He's been playing. He's like Goudreau's had a great year.
Yeah, he has. I think like if the Avs don't make the playoffs, I'm looking at. I honestly wouldn't pick Kucherov. I'd probably pick Hall if they make the playoffs, just because of who he has as a supporting cast on that team. I would probably arguably I'd put Ovi in that conversation if we're talking guys like. He's been that team this year. Whereas like we're used to an even Washington Capitals team this year. It's all Ovi.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, like if the Islanders somehow made the playoffs, it'd be John Tavares in that conversation. Or what about like Claude Giroux? Like there's all these teams. Like it's like kind of like who's the best player on these kind of fringe teams that's carrying the drive, and they're gonna have I think they would have a good argument. But can you be the MVP when on paper you're not the best player on your team? That's like, and I know everyone's like, yes, you totally can be. But it's like, I'm with you. Like the biggest argument against most of these guys is you're not even like you're arguably not even the best player on your team.
Yeah, if the case can be made, like Kucherov has had a better season than Stamkos. He has had a better season than Hedman. Like honestly, I would probably, and I know like goalies. If you're actually talking MVP, every goalie should win because like you fall apart without them, right? Like Vasilevsky goes down, you have Peter Budaj as your goalie. He's the MVP, but
well. You want to make an argument for actual MVP if you're including goalies in this conversation. Like Freddie Anderson has got to be near the top of that because the Leafs, I'm pretty sure, not a playoff team without Anderson this year. He's been like fantastic.
Yeah, and played like every game.
And Tuukka Rask is probably in that too because like that guy had a ridiculous stretch.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. I don't know. Rask, he's probably not as good as he looks.
Yeah, I would. Again, if we're putting...
I'm just saying that because I hate Boston.
Okay.
That had nothing to do with that. I was just like, I didn't want to say, I felt like I was saying too many nice things about Boston. And so I needed to knock that down. Just like Marchand knocks everybody down illegally.
Oh, there it is. Let's, before we get into Brad Marchand and the rest of what has happened in the NHL this week, let's remind everyone about the folks over at ATB. Last week we reminded you about the fact that you can go to ATB for business. You can go there for personal stuff. Is there something else other than business and personal banking? Is that really all you got?
Black market?
Okay. I don't think that ATB deals in black market banking, but if you have a business, if you have your personal banking that you're looking to head over and have someone help you out, head to atb.com/listens where they can give you everything that you are looking for. They can find out how they can help you. So head over there, atb.com/listens. Joel, Brad Marchand in trouble again, or not in trouble yet. He did get the second star of the week, so obviously had a quality week. However,
well, when you cheat.
However, he did have quite the high hit on Anthony Duclair of the Chicago Blackhawks. Where do you stand on that hit? Should that be something suspendable, a fine? What are we doing with Brad Marchand?
So, I was watching. Should I name the guy from TSN that said that it was like a super clean hit?
Please
or
do.
should I? So I was watching. I think it was Craig Button. He's like, Brad Marchand has done lots of terrible things, but this is not one of them. And then they show the clip. This was the first time I had seen the clip. He like jumps at the guy's head.
Like,
I was like,
right at it. Yeah.
like right at it. He's like, it's just one of those things that happens. And I was like, yeah, when you jump at somebody's head, that's what happens. I could not believe, like, have you ever thought to yourself as you're about to collide with someone, if I throw my arms toward their face, we'll avoid the contact?
Yeah. Safest move for me and this person here. That's never been like, sure, I've put my hands up to my own face. Like if someone's walking towards you, like put your hands up. I've never jumped at them though. I've never been like, oh, surprise, and then jumped right towards somebody.
Yeah, I don't. Do you think he's going to get suspended? I think he's going to get out of this one.
I think this one he gets out of. Yeah. It's, if you slow it down, like what most people saw, it looks really bad. If you watch it at real speed, it doesn't look as bad, but he still just threw himself at Duclair's face, which is not a good idea. So is it the worst thing he's done? It's not even close. Is it the best thing he's ever done? Also, no. So yeah, I don't even think he gets a fine for this one, but
that would be interesting. A conversation, like what's like the cleanest thing Brad Marchand has ever done?
I think he's probably like on the ice, because I'm sure off the ice he's probably calls his grandma on her birthday sometimes. Maybe he.
Well, that's just only sometimes. It's like he's not like a great grandson. He's just an okay grandson.
Yeah. He probably has held the door open for a small child once.
Yeah. He probably's done, I'd imagine he's done like visits to Children's Hospital or something like that.
Yeah.
He's probably done stuff like that. People in Boston love him.
Well, yeah. And that's an interesting thought. I know like Boston it was interesting watching, the reaction to this, because everyone in the league was like, of course Marchand did it. And then Boston fans were like, everyone hates Bradley. He's very nice. Would you be, if Brad Marchand was on your team, how would you feel? Would you support him blindly? Would you kind of know what you had? What would your reaction be?
Well, I get annoyed when Kadri does dumb stuff. Like, so I can't imagine I would, like, I'd imagine I would get annoyed when Brad Marchand would do dumb stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, remember, I forget, like, there was something in the playoffs where, like, Kadri definitely took a dive, and, like, everyone was like, oh, man, that was a huge dive. And I was like, yeah, that was pretty dumb. And then, like, the replay showed that it actually wasn't a dive at all, and he had gotten, like, a stick to the face or something like that.
Yeah, I remember. I definitely went full in on Kadri diving on that one. Right.
And then it came, and then, like, 10 minutes later when they actually showed the replay, I was like, oh, like, he definitely didn't dive at all there. But I was annoyed when he does. So, like, I would imagine Brad Marchand would annoy me on my team, just like Alex Burrows would annoy me.
Oh, Alex Burrows would definitely annoy. And that's the thing. I still find those guys annoying, and I honestly, like, I don't want them on my team because I hate being included with that. So when you have a guy on your team who that's all they do, I cringe. It makes me sad.
Which player on any of your sports teams that you cheer for are you least happy to have on your team?
Well, I have to pick
all time.
Okay. Not because I was going to say I have to pick a new one this year, because last season my least favorite player on any of my team was Jose Bautista, and it wasn't close.
But you loved Jose in like the glory years.
Yeah, but like for the same reasons that you hate him, it got very old. His constant whining, and I was willing to put up with his constant whine, and I was like, it was still annoying when he was good. But then he started being not good, and I was like, just go away. I don't want to listen to you.
Like, Jays games took an average of what, like 6 minutes longer? than they needed to because he would complain after every pitch.
And then eventually get tossed. And then Gibbons would have to come out and be like, oh, hey, Jose, I'm going to have to fake argue with the ump for you now. Thanks.
Leader in the clubhouse for you, Brett Lowry.
For most annoying player ever?
Yeah, on the team that you cheered for.
It's got to be close. That guy, I wanted to like him and then quickly realized, nope, not going to like you.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta think about who mine is. It took me a while to get on board with Johnny Damon, but it wasn't because he was annoying. Well, it kind of was. I hated Johnny Damon.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is. I'm trying to think of who this would be an interesting conversation.
I know who mine is.
Oh.
Of any team ever that I've cheered for. It's the one that made me switch teams.
But you didn't cheer for him. He wasn't on your team when you cheered for him.
I guess so. He was. Do we say that the second he signed, I stopped being a fan of that team?
That's what I would think so.
Okay, there you go.
I don't think it's
not Brett Favre then.
I don't think it can be because you chose to not cheer for him. So this is a guy that you still were like, I love this team, but I'm just gonna have to ignore this guy every time he's on the field, which you just couldn't with a quarterback. So.
Exactly. Well, let's make that our question of the week. Let us know your least favorite player that's been on. It doesn't have to. You could tell us your hockey if there's someone in football, basketball, baseball, whoever. If you tell us a soccer player, we won't know who you're talking about. But yeah, if there's someone on your team that's just annoyed you and you either had to defend him or tried to and just couldn't, who's the player on your team that you hated the most?
Carl Pavano.
Ooh, but that's contract based. That's different.
Yeah, but he was also awful. Every time he pitched, you knew it was going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't him. I did not. The Carl Pavano, it's not a fun time.
Not a good era?
No.
Yeah, I'm looking, trying to think. There's got to be someone pretty obvious that I'm missing, but if we're going down the road of guys who are bad who keep getting playing time, that's a different angle that we could go down. Let us know head over to our Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast. You can email us, mail at thefourthlinepodcast.com. You could send it to us on the Facebooks, facebook.com/the Fourth Line Podcast. Let us know. Joel, the playoffs are getting tighter and tighter. We're starting to get some clarity on who is and isn't in the playoffs, where guys are going to be seated. But you were telling me today that you aren't okay with how things are shaking out.
No, the playoff structure is just so messed up. I hate the division and the playoff breakdown and how it works.
Why? Because I love it. So sell me on why I should hate it.
Okay, well, first off, you're punishing teams that do well.
I think they all make the playoffs.
No, you are punishing teams that either should have lesser opponents or get home ice in the playoffs. That in the old structure when it was 8 in on each side, the 3 division winners were the top 3, and then from then on it just went down 4 through 8.
Right.
So, but in this case, you are penalizing teams that do better. So, for instance, Boston should get to play maybe a team like Washington, Philadelphia, New Jersey. Not New Jersey. Probably, yeah. No, they're doing way better. They wouldn't, although they'd be in a different division. But their points are way better, and they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing probably the 4th best team in the playoffs in the East.
So as it stands right now, Tampa's leading the Atlantic. Boston, Toronto, 2nd, 3rd. They would play each other. Points-wise, they are 2nd and 3rd also in the East. So yeah. Boston, if you did it points-wise, Boston would play New Jersey. Toronto would play Philadelphia. And then you actually would have Pittsburgh, Washington in the first round instead of in the second round.
Right. And then same thing in the West. So Winnipeg with 91 points is going to have to play the 85 point team of Minnesota instead of like an 80 point team in Anaheim.
Yeah. Yeah, they would actually play they would play San Jose.
So 81. But like,
yeah.
So you have teams, and like Minnesota they're going to be top 4 in points in the West. The way, if it shakes down the way that it is, they would be top 4 in points in the West, and they're not going to get they're not going to be home ice in the first round.
Right. And
that is, so like, to me, you are penalizing teams not because of talent, not because they didn't do well enough, just because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
But that happens. So, okay, Central Division. There are currently, even if you include, if you include OT losses as an actual loss, if we're looking at 500, every team in the Central Division except for the Chicago Blackhawks is over 500. And so the Central Division teams are getting stacked up against them. And yet Minnesota's still putting up those numbers. So if we're changing anything, if you're saying balance, what I want is, if you're going to have a loaded schedule where you're playing against Central Division teams, I want a loaded playoffs where you're playing against Central Division teams in the playoffs, because you get that regular season rivalry because you've played so much against each other. I want to see, okay, fine, who's the best from the Central Division? You played all year for this. Who is the best from your division? Show me who it is.
So you actually want worse teams later on in the playoffs. Okay, I can buy that.
No, if you're a better team, then just win, right? Like if Minnesota is so good, then go out and beat Winnipeg, right? Yeah, if Winnipeg's so good, go out and beat Minnesota. If you're not good enough to beat Minnesota,
that's not what I'm saying, though. No. That's not what I'm saying. So this is what you're saying. Winnipeg and Minnesota are both better than San Jose and Anaheim, and so you would rather see later in the playoffs worse matchups.
So here's my thing. You have Vegas, San Jose, Anaheim, and then whichever wildcard, right? So yeah, if they win, they are better. They will
not than Minnesota.
They'll play against Vegas, but again, it's so hard to actually look because you have this loaded schedule. If you were to play every team an even amount throughout the entire season, then that would be an actual true test of who is better. But you have this loaded schedule where you're playing, like San Jose gets to play 5-6 games against Edmonton, Vancouver, and Arizona. Like,
you're proving my point.
It's not even a good test, but
you're actually making my point better.
Okay, but if you have, what we have is that you would have Vegas, who again has the easier division, the easier schedule, as the number 1 seed from that, or I guess number 2 right now. So you would rather have them play against a team like who they? I switched to the
play
wildcard.
Dallas,
right?
Or they play San Jose,
right? So again, like you're having that matchup. I don't really care. You're gonna have better first round matchups this way than you would otherwise.
But you're gonna have worse second round then.
I don't think you do. I rarely
totally do.
No, because you have things like you have the classic Washington Pittsburgh. Like, to be fair, I really don't care about who does or doesn't win the inevitable San Jose Anaheim matchup. Like, I'm fine with that because you're gonna have that rivalry that's going to make it better. Who cares about a San Jose Dallas? Sure, they're in the same division. But if it was San Jose Colorado, or Vegas Colorado, or whoever it is, who cares? They haven't played each other much. Let's build off those rivalries. That's when you start to have intense playoff hockey where you have that pre-hatred towards each other.
I don't get where you're coming from at all, because you live for the first round of the playoffs, because that's what this model encourages, is great first round matchups because they're all rivals, and then later on the second round, so you're going to have,
but the second round you're still getting those rivalries though, right? Because you're still playing against a central team, and
San Jose and Anaheim are the 2 worst teams currently in the West, and one of those teams makes it on just because they're in the right place at the right time. So the second round is going to be a terrible round. Like, that matchup is going to be bad because you're letting worse teams go forward. I don't really care about rivalry. Rivalries are not built in the regular season, and we all know that. If you want to make the argument that they're built in the regular season, you can try. No one's going to buy that argument. Rivalries are only ever built in the playoffs. So who really cares about regular season rivals? Let's get better teams further into the playoffs. I would rather see better matchups later than good matchups early and let weaker teams go through. We are going to see, so again, Washington, Philadelphia, one of those teams is going to make it further in the playoffs because based on, and this all comes down to, yes, I get it. These are just point totals. Anyone can win in the playoffs once they get there. Someone like Nashville could technically lose to the last wild card team. Yes, that can happen. But let's not set it up so that teams that have worse point records are just in the right place at the right time and move on. It's worse hockey. Rivalries aren't built in the regular season. They're built in the playoffs. I think Winnipeg, Minnesota, Boston, and Toronto are getting screwed out of like home ice and better opponents because of this system.
Well, I don't see myself convincing you. I see your point. Like I definitely do, but I like the way that it is. I like the way that year after year you can say we played you in the playoffs last year. We're doing it again this year. Let's make it happen. I'm
just amazed that your stance was going by rivalries are built in the regular season, because I have never seen that.
I don't know. I enjoy that carryover. Like, you play a team, I know, because if you build that rivalry in the playoffs, yes, it starts in the playoffs, continues into the regular season. If you play enough in the playoffs, you play back to back to back, you start to play each other a lot in the regular season, yeah, those rivalries are going to get built.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever come out of a regular season environment where I'm like, oh, I just have so much hatred for that team. Every team that the Leafs never, like, I don't hate the Ottawa Senators because they play every season a bunch. I hate the Ottawa Senators because we played them for like 5 years in a row in the playoffs. And yet we were in the old system when we did that, and so somehow it still managed to work itself out that way. Like, think about all the years. Like, did Colorado and Detroit ever play in the same division?
That's a no.
Did you build their rivalry by regular season wins or games?
Yeah, there was some intense regular season games as well. Like
after playoff series.
Yeah, I literally just made that point. You make the rivalry in the playoffs, it continues into the regular season, and then into next playoff.
Yeah, but I don't know. We should probably move on. I don't think either of us are budging on this one.
That is probably true. Joel, the National Hockey League Players Association put out a poll this week. They always do this poll where they ask their players their thoughts on things. And I always find it interesting because there's this perception around the league with fans and then with management, and we always seem to see this disconnect, right? Like, I look, and one person, we'll get to him throughout this. There's goalies and players that always seem to get more love from management than fans or the league. Jonathan Toews is one, right? Jonathan Toews gets so much love around the league, and for a lot of people, even, I think Chicago fans are still holding on to him because of who he is, but around the rest of the league, we're like, yeah, Jonathan Toews, like, he's good, not great. Whereas some of these, so I just want to kind of quickly go through, there's some, who's the league's fastest skater? They agreed with everyone. Connor McDavid, the fastest. What I appreciated is, not even the entire New York Islanders team could be convinced, but they threw all of their weight behind Nick Leddy. I appreciate the fact that they had that homer pick.
That was funny. I like, especially since Grabner played there forever too. Like, there's faster guys than McDavid.
I don't think there's many. I don't think there's any. I don't.
My guess is if you put all of the guys in a straight line and just let them go, every guy in the NHL, I bet you someone would beat McDavid.
I don't know if you would.
He's just good. He's just good and fast.
Right. So once he gets the puck, keeps the puck, skates fast with the puck, and puts the puck in the net.
Yeah. So to me, this was who is the league's fastest best player. Like that's what I don't know. It's whatever.
So who do you think the players voted as the most underrated player?
Probably Bergeron.
Bergeron did not make the top 5.
No. I guess he's not underrated because the media love that guy.
Yeah.
It's the fans that hate him.
It is you who hate him.
You like Patrice Bergeron? You think he is you think he is not underrated or overrated?
I think that he is rated. Yeah, I think that he is what he is. He's really good.
I was always sad when he made Team Canada. He's not good. I don't like him.
Okay.
He's not a good player. So overrated.
We are aware. Nicholas Backstrom, Mr. Underrated. What do you think on that one?
I don't know.
This is quickly becoming a terrible segment.
Well, I just don't know anything. I don't know. Sure. I don't know anything about Nicholas Backstrom. I can count maybe one Capitals game I've watched this year. Who else is on that list?
Of underrated players?
Yeah.
It is Nicholas Backstrom, Jaden Schwartz, someone we talked about as an MVP candidate, Nikita Kucherov, Alexander Barkov, and Ryan O'Reilly.
I would say of that list, Barkov and Schwartz are probably more underrated than Backstrom. Who's out there sitting there saying that Backstrom, you know what? That Backstrom guy, not one of the best players on his team. Everyone knows it's Backstrom and Ovi.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's out there saying Backstrom's not, you don't have to worry about Backstrom?
I don't know anyone, but apparently the players agree, or the players think. This was the tightest.
What percentage of the vote did he get?
8.6%.
Oh, so that's hardly anything.
The other vote in this category got 70%. So no one can agree. I think once it gets past these, it's probably just guys on their own team being like, I really like this guy, which is how that usually goes, right? You have that guy in your team who's like, this guy's sneaky good and he helps us a lot.
Connor Brown was, I think, Morgan Riley's vote, which sure, he's probably underrated, I guess. I don't know. That's such a weird category.
So again, which player would you select to start a franchise? So you got Connor McDavid coming in number 1 with 48% of the vote.
For sure.
Sidney Crosby coming in second. Austin Matthews, your boy, coming in third. Number 5, Erik Karlsson, coming in at number 4. Jonathan Toews. What?
Wrong.
What is the love amongst the players for Jonathan Toews?
I don't know. Crosby and Toews should not be on this list.
I think at Crosby, I would still put him there, but I would be voting McDavid, and it's not close.
Right. It's McDavid, Karlsson, Matthews, Laine.
Yeah, I'm surprised Laine didn't. Oh, I guess there's only 5, but Laine over Toews? Come on.
Yeah, those are, I don't know. Mr. Underrated Barkov. People love that guy. I don't get it. When I watch him play, I'm like, he's okay. Doesn't wow me. Well, it's McDavid.
It is McDavid. The one that switches. So everyone's given the love to McDavid in all these categories. Crosby takes the mantle from him. And if you need to win one game, who is the one player on any position you would pick on your team? Let's put the question to you. One player. So let's say you're a generic team.
Yeah, and I need to win one game.
You need one game. Who are you picking?
And not a goalie?
It could be a goalie.
And this person is 100% healthy?
Yep.
So I'm going probably Carey Price?
He came in third.
I'm going maybe this year's Ovi or I don't know. Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane came in fourth. Ovechkin scored goal number 600 tonight.
Oh, did you score? That means he has 2 tonight.
It did.
I saw he had 1.
Yeah, he opened the scoring, and then that's our high sticking game of the day. We'll get to those later.
You go.
Yeah.
That's probably where I would go. One of those guys.
I definitely would go Price as my number one. Again, assuming health.
Yeah.
Just because a good goalie does so much, right?
Yeah, and I love Crosby and McDavid, but you got Carey Price in the best game, 100% healthy. He's way more important than Crosby is.
For sure. This is one that I want your thoughts. There was a poll, and again, there's so many people involved in these that I don't know at this point. There was a poll on which current assistant coach should be the next head coach, and at number 1 was DJ Smith from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I don't even know who that is.
What's the love in Toronto? Is that just the Babcock coaching tree again?
Probably. I've never heard that name before.
There you go.
That's how much I pay attention to the coaches.
The players know more than you do. Shockingly, they play the game. Surprise. Yeah. So anyways, one last. They asked favorite arena to play in. I just thought it was interesting. A lot of people love Montreal and Chicago. They took about half of the votes.
That's not really surprising. Good fan bases, probably storied franchises that don't let their ice get messed up, probably.
I was going to say, this may not surprise you because they also have the poll on best and worst ice. The worst ice in the league is Florida, Arizona, Anaheim, and Raleigh, North Carolina. It's weird. All these places where you don't usually do winter sports. And
exactly.
And then Brooklyn, obviously.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what the players think.
Stick to playing hockey, guys. I'm just kidding.
Do you want to eliminate a team?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's cue the music.
Elimination Station.
All right, Joel. We have, I think from what we had last week, from what I recall, there was 3 teams, and there is still one eliminated team in a playoff spot as we speak.
You're okay with that?
The Avalanche were eliminated by us on a very sad Monday, and ever since then they've been in a playoff spot. So let's just keep those good times rolling. It's not a reverse jinx. So teams left to be eliminated: St. Louis Blues, who are on the fringe; St. Louis, Calgary, Los Angeles, Carolina, and I guess if we go into teams currently in a playoff spot, Columbus, New Jersey, and Dallas. Does any of those tickle your fancy on who you think is gone?
I'd be content just knocking Carolina out. They're 6 points back right now.
Carolina's 6 points back. St. Louis, who they would be my next in line. They're only 3 points back. So yeah, Carolina. Let's do that. They're relevant because if we're talking, yeah, let's do it. Carolina, I'm sorry, the bandwagon season. I don't. You know what? My team's currently sitting in the playoffs, so I don't need a bandwagon team this season. That's what's great.
Here's the thing. Have you really gotten into the Carolina love?
No.
I wonder if you got a little too quick on the draw and should have waited to pick one going into the playoffs.
And I still could. To be fair, so the teams that I was looking at, considering, Anaheim, Columbus, Carolina. Anaheim's currently best at 80 points, but even that I wouldn't be excited about. They were so miserable to start the season, and they've been picking it up as of late, but that wouldn't excite me. None of these teams excite me. I think what I needed to, like you said, into the playoffs, and I will. If the Avalanche do not make it, I will be having, obviously I will not be going as in-depth as I did in the summer picking a team, but yeah, I will be picking someone I'm back in the playoffs.
So we're not going to we don't have to go through weeks and weeks of it. We can just...
Well, I'll just tell you, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even going to consult anyone. I'm just going to decide for my own good.
Okay. I think that's good. I think that's good. I was like, we went through a lot of that only for you to just be like, yeah. Like, I feel like you haven't really embraced them.
I did off the start of the season, and one of the things that sold me on it was how great the Hurricanes community is, and on the internets, and I guess in person as well, the devoted fans are very passionate, but I've also just realized that they're super sick of losing, and so that's kind of, it doesn't make it fun when you're like everyone's just ragging on each other. It's not the nicest, but this is relevant because the Hurricanes did make a big change today, or not today, this week, removing, and we talked about it on our final Patreon episode because that news broke right in the middle of us watching Raw the other day, so we kind of mentioned that there. Ronald Francis gone as general manager. He's been promoted. I guess you could call it promoted, but essentially they just moved him to a role where he has no control. Removed as general manager, he is going to be president of, I believe the title is president of hockey ops, and they're looking to hire a general manager, but and this is why I say promoted, but not. The general manager will report directly to new owner Tom Dundon. So
is that kind of like a fired up?
Yeah,
like, you're not like fired out, but
yeah, you're not fired, but we also don't want you doing your job anymore.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Lots of rumors, and right now, they're getting permission to interview people. No one that most people will have known as potential frontrunners, because you can't hire from another team right now, right? No one's going to fire. So for me, I think, sure, interview them right now, whatever you can. If there's anyone who's really good, do that. If not, try to see who does get let go after the season, see who's there. That's kind of me, because now moving forward, the first thing you need to do if you're the Hurricanes is hire a general manager.
Right. So you need a general manager, and then you also need to figure out which guys you just need to let go of.
Yeah. And the thing that is good about this team, again, if they're going to be able to have money, they don't really have a lot. This team's biggest problem, and one of the reasons why I was quite excited to support them was the fact that Scott Darling was coming in as the goaltender. And I'd sold myself on the fact that he was going to be good enough for this team because Cam Ward had been terrible. It was like, even if Scott Darling's mediocre, this team can be good. Well, Scott Darling hasn't been mediocre. He has been the aforementioned terrible.
Yeah, he's signed for a while.
Yeah, he got a 4x4. The good part is that Cameron Ward is a free agent after the season, so they can part ways with him. I assume if they can, like, this team has had Cam Ward there since he was 18 years old, right? 16 seasons Cam Ward has been a member of the Carolina Hurricanes. That's not an easy plug to pull. That's not an easy tie to cut. I'm gonna finish this podcast and go write a paper that I have to submit tomorrow. It's gonna be real good.
Yeah, and the Marcus Kruger thing did not work out well.
But that's not actually no one's sitting here being like, well, you got Marcus Kruger on this team. That's your downfall.
But it's things like when you have internal cap teams, you can't be making mistakes like that.
That is
That's
true.
the problem. So I get it. It's like, yeah, well, like with this cap situation, you'd be like, oh man, this team could totally rebound quickly. Not really. Like, are they still trying to like find a new owner? Have they found a new owner? I forget.
Yeah, I literally said new owner.
No,
guy.
I was reading some of the advanced stats so I could be all like smart. This team's terrible. There's nothing good here.
This team is good, and that's the point. At the advanced stats, if you look at all the possession charts, the Hurricanes are at the top of them. What they suck at, what they are terrible at, is goaltending. And one thing that frustrated me earlier in the season, and it's still a bit of a problem for this team, is shot location. They're a big outside shooty team. So like they'll get a lot of shots, they have a lot of shot attempts, but they're not from the best of opportunities sometimes. Well,
see, that's the thing. I was checking out the high danger chances for. They don't really have, like, their high danger chances are not very good. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're just,
I know,
they're getting those shots from like the half boards, from the point.
I don't get why, like, see, that's the thing. On paper, their stats are they're just not, I don't know. They're just not that great of a team. They're really missing like a star player, like a guy that's just like you can lean on the power play. And like Noah Hannafin, this guy's gonna get paid this offseason. You'd think, but I don't know. Like apart from that, who do they really have? Like Skinner's good, sure. Stahl's overpaid, probably. Well, probably not anymore. That contract's probably actually not as bad as it was when he first signed it.
Yeah, now it's just like, yeah, it's not the best, but $6 million for Jordan Stahl. Yeah, that's still too much.
Aho's good, but like, it's just nothing. I don't know.
Here's the thing for me is like they need Jordan Stahl to be that big. Like he's 6'4", 220. They need Jordan Stahl to be that big body presence that he's not, right? Because that's what you have. You have a lot of very skilled players on this team. And I know we talked about this last week on underrated, or not underrated, but what was it? Like the sneaky good guys, unconventional players. That's what we were talking about last week. And how like there's some guys who are considered unconventional because they're small. Well, there's not a lot of guys who use their size on this forward core, and they need a Jordan Stahl to be that big net front guy.
Is this the guy that you play? Do they have the guy that played Words with Friends or whatever? Jake Bean?
Oh no, the guy I played chess with?
Yeah.
He is not on this team as of yet.
But he's one of their prospects though, right?
Yes.
Do they have any, like, that's the other thing I've been doing, as you were saying. I was like looking down their prospect pool and I was like, none of these have come out in any of the like prospect conversations that I've been like, that you kind of start seeing. Cause like this is the time of year that guys start writing articles about teams that aren't going to make the playoffs and like what they need to do in the off season and what they have, like trying to like give their fan bases hope. Right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any for Carolina, which would worry me.
So big guy, Martin Necas, probably didn't pronounce that right. Where do you think Martin Necas is from?
I'm going to go, that's a tough one. I don't think, I'm going to go Europe. I'm going to go Poland or Czech Republic.
I need an answer.
Oh, that means I got one of them. Czech Republic.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big part of their World Junior teams. Yeah, like him and Jake Bean are probably the two top guys that you'd be looking for, forward and defense there. Yeah, there isn't. They've brought a lot of these guys who would be the next guys onto this roster already.
That's not good.
I still think that if you have league average goaltending, this team is a playoff team. If you have even like somewhat competent goaltending, this team is a playoff team. It's been so terrible.
Okay.
Like their team save percentage is a whopping .896.
That's really bad.
Like that's super bad. The next closest team who is currently a playoff team who has that, Pittsburgh is at .904, 23rd in the league. But you have the kind of offense that can get around having less than desirable goaltending.
Yeah.
So what do you think you do with this team, Joel?
Start spending some money.
New owner, Tommy.
You gotta spend some money, bring in some guys. Or like see, the thing is, if they're as good as you say they are, they could actually even pull a little bit of Arizona Coyotes here, bring in maybe the not greatest contract for an asset. Like, so you get an asset with bringing in a bit of a bad contract. So just buy a player.
Right, essentially.
Yeah, they could do that.
100% they could. Yeah, if it's hard to know because he's only had the team for a couple months. It's hard to know what the internal cap for this team is. But you've got to think that there still is one. So depending on what that is, definitely spend some money.
Well, there's definitely still an internal cap.
Yeah, you would to show up and to want to blow this team up all the way from second last in salary to a top 10 team would actually be a terrible idea because then you're just spending money to spend money.
Yeah, they have so much cap space.
All of it. Yeah. Like they're signing Marcus Kruger to get over the cap floor. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, they could definitely use John Tavares.
Yes.
Win the lottery, sign John Tavares.
That's a fact.
Playoff team next year.
If you have a great defenseman and a great centerman added to this team, that would help. Yeah. Joel, it is time to pick our Pavel Bures.
Ho ho.
So the way this works is we pick our Pavel Bure must-watch games of the week. We pick one game every night, and then we play a game with them. What we do is on the Twitters, it's called High Sticking. You can head over there. Every day we'll send out a tweet, and it'll be something along the lines of, hey, these two teams are playing. Who do you think is going to score the game-winning goal? You pick one player from each team. If you pick right, you get points. If you pick wrong, you get nothing. Right now,
Ooh.
Yeah?
There's a great game tomorrow night.
Oh, well, let's hold on to that. Right now, Logan Rendulic is winning with 10 points. So we said we were going to split the rest of this season up into 2 chunks. There are 4 weeks left in the season. Do we want to have the 3-week session now or at the end? The season ends on a Sunday, so it'll be it's a full week at the end.
It doesn't matter. What do you think?
I think let's do it. Let's do the 3-week one now. So 2 more weeks of high sticking. So we'll put
locked in
7 games this week. We'll go all the way to Monday. We'll pick our must-watch games. Joel, what is tickling your fancy tomorrow?
Winnipeg, Nashville.
Ooh, that
right?
is, yeah, that's the good one. There's also, I know that I'm biased, but the Colorado-Minnesota game will also be a good one.
That's a rivalry game.
Rivalry game. It is. I know you. Whatever.
It's on Tuesday.
Right. Yeah. You only put the big rivalries on Wednesday.
Pittsburgh Rangers is rivalry night.
Yeah, they messed up there. What do we want? We've got our 2 options are Vegas, New Jersey, or Dallas, Toronto.
Well, we all know what game I'm going to be watching.
That's a fact.
Although I technically could watch both.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
That's fair.
So we should choose Toronto because if I'm not going to watch Vegas, Jersey.
We should pick Vegas, Jersey because Dallas, Toronto currently has Mike McKenna slotted to start, not Ben Bishop or Kerry Lettinen.
That doesn't mean anything. Your score app doesn't know anything about goalie starts.
The scorer app has really let me down.
I know. Okay, fine. Go choose Vegas and whatever the other team was.
Vegas and the New Jersey Devils. On Thursday night, I'm thinking Columbus, Philly.
Yep. Do it.
Friday.
Right.
Nashville,
I go
Colorado?
Calgary?
Nashville, Colorado?
No.
Fine, we'll go Calgary, San Jose for you.
You want to do... Fine. We can do Nashville, Colorado if we let me pick the Leafs on Saturday.
Who are they playing?
Montreal. Rivalry night.
No,
You can't make an impassioned plea about rivals and then not let me choose Montreal, Toronto.
It's not a rivalry right now.
It is. My point exactly.
The game that obviously stands out, and we'd have to break the rule, but the best game that night is Tampa Boston, and it's not close.
Can we not? I said way too many nice things about Boston tonight.
We've said a lot of very nice things about Boston recently.
Let's not break the rule.
Okay. Because that is the only game that features two playoff teams.
What night are we talking about?
Saturday.
That's Toronto, Montreal.
Yeah, but we went.
You went San Jose, Calgary on Friday?
Yeah, I gave you your Calgary.
I don't care about Calgary. I just want Toronto, so I was hoping that would be a good enough swing. Apparently, it was not. I don't know. You choose.
All right, we're breaking the rule.
No, we're not breaking that. You can't just
you can't tell me that I get to pick and then complain when I pick.
No, because you can't break the rule. I said we're not breaking the rule. Go Carolina, Philly.
I don't want to. Sure, Carolina, Philly.
We're not. We said way too many nice things about Boston. Forget Boston.
All right, Sunday. We have Dallas, Winnipeg.
Sure. The other one would be like Jersey, Anaheim.
Yeah. And then Monday night.
Montreal, Florida.
Just watch Florida destroy Montreal. Monday night, there's not many good. I guess Minnesota, LA.
There you go. That's a good game. You're just itching to break the rules left, right, and center. I can feel it.
I wasn't. No one tells me what to do, Joel. So I let you this time. I let you tell me what to do, but that was just for once.
I didn't tell you what to do. What I said was actually what you were feeling inside in your heart, and so you were still making the decision for yourself. There. How's that sound?
I kind of buy it. I kind of don't.
Is Ben Bishop hurt?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And Kerry Lettonen's been carrying that team surprisingly well, though.
Yeah, that's why a score has, because that Dallas game is a back-to-back.
Oh.
So but left wing lock, my go-to that actually is good at goalie projections, has him starting both games.
Kerry.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably the smart decision. Joel, the Alberta Podcast Network is a great community of podcasts and podcasters with a number of great shows for you to listen to. One of which is, if you are looking for a diverse take, if you're like, you know what, I'm sick of listening to these two guys talk about Colorado and Toronto and not Boston. I have not heard that the Hockey Feels podcast has a no Boston rule. So I'm going to go on a limb and say that they don't have one. This is a show hosted by an Oilers fan and a Flyers fan. A unique, I guess as unique as Colorado and Toronto could be. So hosted by Steven and Rachel. You can find them over at hockeyfeels.wordpress.com or on Twitter at hockeyfeels. Make sure to check them out. They are another great hockey show and a great fellow member of the Alberta Podcast Network. If you want to play high stake, you can find us on Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast, thefourthlinepodcast.com, where you can find the aforementioned article that Joel was fired up about, that we didn't include Malkin in our MVP talk and things like that. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/the4thline podcast. I think those are the only places that we care about. We're a member of the Grandstand Sports Network, as well as obviously the Alberta Podcast Network. Joel, till next week.
Boom City.